And also, again, this thing to do with that, the skiing, the off-piste skiing, what we're looking to do is respond and be adaptable to change rather than following an exact path that's pre-planned. Because if, again, as this says, if you've got a plan and you feel that you want to follow the terrain, it's better to follow the terrain than to blindly follow a plan, even though it's going wrong. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about, does that all make sense? Okay. So the next part 4, is about, okay, well, we've got this kind of agile approach and we know it's adaptable, we know we've got these small iterations, but how do we go about implementing that in a software company? What do we need to do? So I've got this kind of thing again, the Martin Luther King quote, and you notice I've had a few quotes in here. This is again about thinking about those small iterations and those small steps. So what we're looking to do, and this is key to this methodology, which is Scrum, and that's the methodology we're using for implementing it. And what we're looking to do is take that first small step on the ladder. We know where we need to go, but we don't need to know the full route, and that's really important to remember in this. So how do we start it? Well, the first thing we need to know is we need to know the end goal of where we're going to. So what we need is a broad overview of the starting point and the end of the project. And the way we do this is to create something called a product backlog. Now each of the kind of blocks or lines in there represent a feature or what's called a user story. And basically they're quite broad features. They might be something like a whole login section or a whole quiz section. They're things that are quite easily describable by the customer, but they're not down to sort of minute details such as where the text box is on a page or where certain text goes or bits like that. They're more down to the broad overview. Does that make sense? Yeah? Oh, sorry. And also what we're looking to do in that as well is with the backlog, we're looking at 2 key variables once we've made all the features. So describe all the features, lay them out, and then we look at the items that are the lowest time and cost to make and the highest business value to the customer. So we're looking for quick return as quick as possible. So those are the items we move to the top in this kind of must-have section. So we're looking to move down. And what's kind of key here as well, and I always explain to people when I'm talking about this, is if you go into a traditional sort of 1990s software development company and ask them to deliver a project within a set time for a set cost, there's those 3 variables going on: time, cost, scope. And inevitably, one of those is probably going to break if you say I'm going to do a set amount of features within a set amount of time, because no one knows the exact path that's going to happen. No one knows the hurdles along the way, how that's going to change. So how can you plan it out? That's where you get the adaptations, the requirements documents. And so we look to plan that out. Lost my train of thought. Move those to the top. Okay. So the next thing we're looking to do is, from each of those backlog items that we've done, we're trying to avoid obviously breaking the variables, the time, cost and scope variables again. And what we're really looking to do is say, okay, we're going to deliver the project of what we predict here. So this is where we feel we're going to deliver it at the moment. Then what we're looking to do is we only break it down into subtasks. So these are like breaking down maybe the login screen into the subsections, maybe like the design, the code, the testing, or maybe smaller intricacies of that. And because we're probably going to deliver here, we don't need to worry about what's over here at the moment, because there's no point in planning that out if we're not going to get to a high cost, low business value feature, because it might just not be worthwhile doing. So what's the point in having this massive, long drawn out plan that's going to happen? So there is kind of some understanding at times that Agile is something that happens, is coding without a plan. It's not that at all. There is a plan in place, there is still a backlog, but it's just we don't plan out every single little feature up front. We look to do them as we're going along and make it adaptable.